the National Football
League Television Network.
Great games, great moments on NBC. Here they come.
It is intercepted at the 3-yard line. The Jets have the ball. Number 28 is still there. They could go 98 yards. And the Jets chase it down the far sideline. Still way.
37-yard line of New England. Tatupu, a sure-handed runner, ducks inside. He's down. He fumbled the ball. This is a 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Marino looking for the record, and it is there. There it is. 37 touchdown passes for Dan Marino, and Jimmy Cephalo has the honor of giving it to the quarterback.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to NFL Live. Len Berman in New York, along with Paul McGuire and Gail Gardner. Injured quarterbacks. Is it the new rules? And why is scoring down this year? We will hear from John Elway, Doug Flutie, and a radical proposal from our Merlin Olsen. But first, Dodger pitcher Jay Howell. He will find out later today if he is suspended for the duration of the playoffs. Here's what happened yesterday at Shea Stadium. In the 8th inning, with the Dodgers leading 4-3, the umpires found pine tar in Howell's glove, and umpire Harry Wendelstedt ejected him for using a foreign substance. The glove was impounded by National League President Bart Giamatti, so the media could not check it out. Giamatti is still mulling his decision. 5 runs then scored. The Mets won it. But right before the ejection, Kevin McReynolds hit a foul ball.
All right, some of the fans are chanting LA Chiefs in the background. You see the dark spot on the ball. That's the alleged pine tar from Jay Howell. And here's the fellow who caught the ball, Sean Sullivan. And what do you make of this?
Well, I think Jay Howell cheats. I mean, you can tell. That wasn't made by a bat or anything.
Yeah. Are you willing to sell this ball?
No.
Think it's going to be valuable?
Yeah.
How much do you think it's worth?
I have no idea, really.
Is this the most exciting thing that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
This is it, Sean. All right.
That was it. So if you're looking for indisputable visual evidence, as they do in football, look no further than Sean Sullivan of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. The Mets lead the Dodgers now 2-1. Game 4 tonight will be Tudor and Gooden pitching. And the A's can sweep the Red Sox this afternoon in Oakland after winning last night. It's Hurst and Stewart there. And coming up, we have the rash of quarterback injuries and a modest proposal for Merlin. We'll be back in a minute on NFL Live.
NFL Live is brought to you by Volkswagen. Experience German engineering the Volkswagen way. By Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, the best burgers in the business. And by Diet Coke. Enjoy Diet Coke. You're going to drink it just for the taste of it.
We used to sell a Volkswagen for people with more sense than money. We still do. Before you buy a car, test drive a Volkswagen Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
Traditional athletic shoes soak up the energy you put into your workout. The Reebok Energy Return System operates on a different principle. Instead of soaking up your energy, it returns it to you. And who couldn't use a little extra energy in their workout? The Reebok Energy Return System in running, walking, and aerobic shoes.
Before your tires show uneven wear, have your alignment checked. Or you could be shortening tire life and taking risks. At Midas, trained professionals with the latest technology align your car right. Hey, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Do you know what it's like to walk out onto the fresh-cut grass at Yankee Stadium the morning before the game? Now you do. Adidas Aftershave and Cologne. The essence of sports.
When I hold this Olympic coin, I remember my student, Charlie, always running through the halls. I told him 1,000 times, stop running. I'm glad he never stopped. He's training for the Olympics.
Support our present and future athletes with the official U.S. Olympic commemorative coins in gold or silver from the U.S. Mint. Help America shine. Available at Montgomery Ward, participating coin dealers, and other fine stores.
Welcome back. They liberalized the rules this year, and defensive backs can handle wide receivers a bit more. Is that why points are the lowest in the National Football League in 9 years? Has it contributed to all the quarterback injuries? Well, our Merlin Olsen has some interesting thoughts on the subject.
I don't know about you, but I always wanted to be a quarterback until I saw what happens to quarterbacks in the NFL. This kind of pounding will eventually take its toll on quarterbacks. Warren Moon and the Oilers found that out early. The Cleveland Browns put their Super Bowl hopes on the strong arm of Bernie Kosar. With his arm in a sling, those hopes once again are fading. To top things off, the very next week, Gary Danielson, his replacement, went down with a broken ankle. Seattle quarterback Dave Craig goes down hard and comes up with a shoulder injury. Ironically, some of the very elements that were altered to help the offenses have made life miserable for the quarterbacks. In the early 80s, the NFL was busy making the quarterback's job easier, forcing the defense to just take one bump on those wide receivers in that critical 5-yard zone, taking away the defensive head slap, and legalizing holding. Traditional bend but don't break defenses were breaking. In Chicago in 1985, Buddy Ryan's Bear defense had an answer.
In 85, we attacked the quarterback. That's the only thing we thought about, was to get the quarterback on the ground, forget the running game, forget the bomb, attack the quarterback.
The name of the game is to kill the guy with the football, and more often than not, the quarterback's going to have the football, so we're going to take our lumps. And there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just a physical game, and you got to stand in there and take it.
In the NFL, if it works, it's copied. Most of the teams around the league now have their own version of the 46 or Bear defense, and the hitmen get bigger and stronger every day. Quarterbacks will still be hurt. The body only bends so far. And sometimes it's intentional. But how do we stop the mounting toll of NFL quarterback casualties? Jack Lambert once suggested that we put the quarterbacks in skirts. The NFL has tried by instituting rule changes. The grasp and control rule, for example, made a quick whistle even quicker. And the one-step rule put the responsibility of avoiding a quarterback who had thrown the football clearly on the defenders. But how can we protect the quarterback further without changing the nature of the game? Do we hang a do-not-touch sign around his neck? Or make the defense count to 10 before they rush the quarterback? Perhaps this situation requires an even more drastic solution. What about this? Adding an extra player to the offense. Playing 12 against 11. A 6th offensive lineman. More points, more offense? You bet. And better protection for the quarterback. If we don't do that, maybe we just better find a way to mass produce these quarterbacks and ship them out in 6-packs. I'm Merlin Olsen.
12 players against 11. It could be just like hockey, a power play on every play. How would you like that idea, Doug Flutie?
I wouldn't mind it as a quarterback. I don't think too many defensive people would be too happy about it, though.
No, I can tell. With all the injuries to quarterbacks around the league, being the littlest signal caller in the National Football League, are you concerned at all this season?
I'm not concerned about injury. That's something that, might happen, it may not, but you can't worry about it. I think that the mobility factor gives me a little bit of an advantage in prevention of injury.
Are people still questioning your size?
I think the media will always question it because it's something good to talk about. But I think the players around me and especially the fans have no questions in their mind.
Last week, Doug, you came off the bench and you were quite successful. Is it possible that maybe that's your specialty, being a relief pitcher as opposed to a starting quarterback?
I don't know. I feel comfortable starting ball games. I think it's a little easier to come off the bench because you get a chance to take a look at the flow of the game and see what's happening. But I think last week was just the result of the whole team playing well in the fourth quarter.
You're no stranger to quarterback controversies, and now there's talk that Tom Ramsey, because of your starting, wants to be traded. How are you all getting along in New England?
Everything's gone fine. It's been a good week of preparation, and all the quarterbacks, we have a very good relationship going, and it's been that way since I got here, and I don't foresee any problems.
Did you see Jim McMahon's quote? Your former teammate in Chicago called you Bambi, and he said, "Oh, great, he's America's midget again."
Jim will be Jim, and that's fine, It's fun. It keeps the humor in the game, and Jim McMahon's got his spot out in Chicago, and hopefully I can find my little niche here in New England.
So you think that's it? You found your home, you did it with Boston College, and now you'll lead the Patriots to glory?
I hope so, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks a lot, Doug Flutie. Good luck against Green Bay today.
Thank you.
All right. And coming up on NFL Live, they are the Bungles no more. We'll feature the Cincinnati Bengals, who are undefeated. And what's with John Elway? We'll be back in just a minute.
Whether you work up a man-sized thirst or a man-sized thirst, nothing tackles it like Diet Coke. The real cola taste you can drink more of, because it's just 1 calorie.
I'll flip you for it.
Heads again.
Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
This is a car. This is a Big A Pro Auto Repair Shop that uses quality Big A parts to service your car. This is a Big A Auto Parts store where you can buy said parts to work on your car yourself. This is the Big A Road to Savings, during which you can get great deals at this and this for this. And this is one of my vacation slides of my twin brother.
Look for the Big A Road to Savings going on now. Little things mean a lot. That's why just one number gets you reservations at any Sheraton in the U.S. or 63 countries worldwide.
Hyundai of Orchard Park asks the question, why buy a used car when you can buy a brand new 1988 Hyundai for $5,650, including destination charges? From the base XL to the XL GLS 4-door sedan. Now you can buy it and drive it home the same day. Over 150 new Hyundais in stock at Hyundai of Orchard Park, Western New York's exclusive Hyundai dealer, because that's all we sell. Just 15 minutes from downtown Buffalo, a mile and a half east of Rich Stadium on Southwestern Boulevard. Hyundai of Orchard Park. Cars that make sense from a dealer that makes sense.
Question in Denver, is there anything wrong with John Elway? The answer appears to be no. He does have a tender elbow as a result of being tackled last week, but what's to explain 9 interceptions already in 5 games? Well, let's let him do it.
I've tried to make something happen. We get bogged down for a while, and I put a little too much pressure on my own shoulders and try to get something done and end up forcing it and turning the ball over. So I've had a problem with that a little bit at the start of this season, but I think that it's something that I've cured almost to this point, and hopefully I can stay away from the interceptions.
Most surprisingly, Elway and the Broncos offense have struggled despite adding Tony Dorsett from Dallas.
The main problem is not that Tony Dorsett. I think that the thing that's happened to us is our running game is better, but I think that our passing game isn't clicking like it has in the past just because of the turnover in coaches, and plus we're not all on the same page yet, and so that's been the main source of the problem right there, is the fact that the passing game has been the fault, and not Tony Dorsett or the running game.
And so taking over this year is the most explosive quarterback in the NFL, Boomer Esiason. The Bengals had 4 wins all of last year. They've already got 5 and 88. They're the only undefeated team. And Paul McGuire watched them as they got ready to host the Jets.
Last season was a disaster for the Cincinnati Bengals with only 4 wins and a pile of lost opportunities. But what a difference a year can make. Offensively, the Boomer is red hot. And defensively, the Bengals are roaring.
Coach, when you take a look at this football team, it's basically the same offensive football team you had last year, basically the same defensive football team you had last year. What is the big change from one year to the next?
Well, I think the turnaround comes from the players. The credit goes to them. They came in good shape. They worked hard in the offseason. We had about 31 guys that lived in the Cincinnati area in the offseason, worked hard with Kim Wood, our conditioning coach. They came in here in the mini camp. You could see a different attitude. The approach was look ahead at 88.
Last year, we were just hammered by injuries. There wasn't a time where it seemed like we had 11 guys playing week in and week out. Now, for the first 5 weeks of the season, we haven't had the major injury. We've always been able to put the same 11 guys on the field.
We place an emphasis on goal line attitude, which is a process of really defending your home end zone. And we started in preseason stressing that if we could keep people out of the end zone from the goal line out, then we were going to be a good defense.
We felt last year that all we had to do is put a couple wins together and everything would have changed around for us, but that never happened to us. And the way we were losing games in the last final minutes just really seems to deteriorate team unity. And this year, Sam put us together with roommates and did it black and white. He'll tell you offense and defense, but I know it was black and white. And I think what that did, it brought a lot of guys closer together that really didn't know each other.
With the worst record in the AFC last year, pressure was on Paul Brown to make some major changes in his team. Everyone thought Weiss and Esiason would both go.
I think my wife was surprised. My kids were disappointed. They voted to fire me. I don't know, firing a coach, that's almost like when you take the job, it's just a matter of time. So you don't act surprised, you don't act shocked if it were to come about. I have no lack of confidence in what I can do. I understand the game. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm a pretty good teacher, pretty good communicator. I think people still respect, on this ball club, still respect me as a coach.
For me in the offseason was just a matter of getting away from Cincinnati for about 4 or 5 months and just really getting my head together in terms of coming back here, because all the negative things that were going on around here last year were tough to deal with. And the strike, the losing of games in the last final minutes, the booing of the fans, all those things were really tough for me to deal with. And I needed about 4 months just to get away and mentally get myself ready and prepare for what I was considering probably the biggest year of our careers here in Cincinnati.
At 5-0 so far this season, this could well be the Bengals' biggest year.
Paul, I find it interesting what Boomer was talking about, putting black players with white players together. Is there a segregation on football teams?
Not really. Most of the players, they have a choice of what roommate they want to be with. Guys that they're friends with not only during the course of the season, but also in the off-season, guys that stay in town. And what Weiss tried to do here in this situation was just to get everybody, it wasn't so much like Boomer thinks it is black and white, but to get the players to know each other. And he said something further in that thing. He said, now I found out about, their kids and their family, and the guy had a chance to find out about me. There was more to that football team than just playing a football game.
Interesting. Family and togetherness. All right, some picks, a couple of games. The Bengals are favored at home against the Jets, and you always like the Jets.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what. Ken O'Brien is second to Boomer. Okay, that's one thing. Right. And he's the only quarterback in the conference that's 60% passer. That's O'Brien. They also lead the conference in sacks with 19. And one other very important thing, fewest points allowed, the Jets, 61.
So you like the Jets?
No, I like the Bengals. See, the Bengals, because of the togetherness, and the one thing that really pushed me towards the Bengals this week more than any other time is that when I was talking to Sam Weiss and I said to him, you know, the week after this is going to be a tough game. He said, who are we playing? They don't know who they play the next week. They're just solid on this week's game.
Bengals might be without a couple of running backs as well. That may be a factor.
Might be a factor, but it won't make any difference. He's got too many receivers.
Chance of rain there. Also, a chance of rain in Buffalo, where the Bills are favored at home against the Colts.
Why would the Colts trade the only man that can stabilize Eric Dickerson? They trade Cornelius Bennett to Buffalo, and he can control him. Last year, and you hate to go back, but Eric Dickerson only got 19 yards against the Bills. This year, he may get 20. The Bills are solid with Cornelius Bennett and their strong defense, and I think their offense is about ready to do something. I'm taking the Bills.
How about the Raiders favored at home against Miami?
Well, the Raiders, you know, Jay Schrader, this will be his third week, basically, and it's time for them to do things. Miami had a great game against Minnesota, but that's one game out of 5. The Raiders are solid, even though Marcus Allen may not play. Todd Christensen is out, but the Raiders are at home, and I think they'll beat the Dolphins.
Okay, Paul, now let's welcome back Gail Gardner from Seoul. You did a terrific job over there.
Thank you.
Glad
from
to see
you, I
home.
appreciate that very much. And as they say in Korea, kamsahamnida. All right, we're going to talk about Newswatch. And Newswatch this week consists of an official demise and an offensive lineman who's taken offense to his situation. All-Pro guard Ron Sult has until the 1989 draft to report to the Philadelphia Eagles, who acquired him from Indianapolis for 2 draft picks. If Sult doesn't report by then, the deal is off, and the draft picks will be returned to the Colts. Sult recently signed a new 5-year, $2.6 million contract with the Colts and then said it was a bad deal. Before he joins the Eagles, he wants to renegotiate. It was suggested that Sult may not want to play in Philly.
I think you're full of bull there. I think he wants some money and that his agent thinks there's an opportunity for him to milk our football team for some money, but he's not going to do it. So he's already got a contract, so that's, you know, life's a big city. I got one, too. I'd like to up mine. Wouldn't you like to up yours?
There's another chapter in the safety that should have been a touchback. The wrong call was allowed to stand in the Giants-Cowboys game of September 18th, and now Armin Terzian, the NFL replay official who later admitted blowing the play, has resigned after 3 years as replay official and almost 3 decades with the league. Last week on this program, Dr. Robert Voy, the chief medical officer of the U.S. Olympic team, said he believed that perhaps as many as half the players in the NFL had used steroids. Well, this week, the NFL released its own figures. According to results from 1987 pre-camp physicals, only 6% of the players in the league tested positive for steroids. The 88 test results are not ready quite yet. All tests, though, were done with prior notice, and Dr. Voy's contention was that unannounced tests would verify his figures. And finally, we would certainly be remiss if we didn't at least mention the Lions, the Columbia Lions, that is, who finally ended the longest losing streak in major college history. It was 44 games ago when Lions fans had this feeling. Yesterday, Princeton kicker Chris Lutz missed this 49-yard field goal, enabling Columbia to come away with a 16-13 victory. Tigers were 21-point favorites. The Columbia victory ended a losing streak that began in October of 1983. And we will take a break, be back with more right after this. Stay with us.
What's so special about Wendy's new Bacon Swiss Burger? Bacon. Special sauce. Swiss cheese. More bacon. All on a toasted Kaiser bun. It's the only Bacon Swiss Burger with 3 strips of bacon. Ooh, doesn't that sound delicious? Wendy's new Bacon Swiss Burger. Come on in now and grab one while they're hot.
From the people who taught you to expect a lot of car for the money, well, here comes another lesson. Before you buy a car, test drive a Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
Now there's a baseball game with all the sounds, all the action, and the challenge of the real game. Introducing play-by-play talking baseball. The best game next to the real game.
He strained his back real bad about a week ago.
and I had this free sample of Metapron.
I couldn't believe how fast it worked.
Metapron has ibuprofen, and nothing's proven faster.
It's amazing.
Metapron just works.
When the pain gets tough, get Metapron.
Last week, we talked about Rick Massey, the Broncos wide receiver. He boarded the team plane to San Diego and developed acute claustrophobia, and he deplaned. So Massey took a 20-hour limousine ride to San Diego. His coach, Dan Reeves, saw him off. He made the game in time. He played last week, but didn't catch a pass.
The biggest problem I have is if I get a little hot on the plane and I feel closed in, then I have it overcomes me mentally, and I can't control what happens after that. And it's not that I'm not strong enough to. I know I am. It's just something I've got to work with, and it's personal.
Cost of the limo, $2,700. So this week they tried a train to San Francisco. 2 miles out of Denver's Union Station, he suffered claustrophobia again and left the train. He's now been placed on injured reserve. A Broncos spokesman said, "We play road games, and if you can't travel, that's a problem." Says Massey, "It is day to day. It's just a matter of working my way through it." We wish him well. And that'll do it today for NFL Live. For Paul and Gail, I'm Len Berman in New York. We'll see you at halftime. Enjoy the game, everybody.
From Rich Stadium, it's the Indianapolis Colts versus the Buffalo Bills. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Mitsubishi Motors, who invites you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. And by AT&T, the right choice.
It's the fourth consecutive sellout at Rich Stadium. A crowd of 80,000 expected on a chilly, rainy afternoon in Buffalo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rich Stadium. Tom Hammond along with Dave Lapham, the former Bengals offensive lineman, ready to bring you this key game in the AFC East. The Bills in first place, 4-1. The Colts in last place, 1-4, and facing a must-win situation today. The Colts' 4 losses, by the way, have been by a total of only 17 points. When we talk about the Colts, we have to talk about Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson, Tom, once again leads the entire National Football League in rushing, but last year he only had 19 yards and 11 carries, a career low.
Meanwhile, this season, the Indianapolis Colts have gone through a succession of quarterbacks. Gary Hogeboom started the season, but he was battered and bruised, and Hogeboom lost his starting job to Jack Trudeau. Trudeau, here against the Cleveland Browns, was sacked and injured his knee, and he is likely out for the rest of the season.
He's contemplating reconstructive surgery on that knee, so most definitely.
So Chris Chandler, who started the season number 3, the rookie, is now the quarterback here, tossing his first NFL touchdown pass to a wide-open Bill Brooks against the New England Patriots a week ago. Buffalo Bills unbeaten until they faced the Bears last week.
And the Bears, they got 6 sacks on Jim Kelly, and the reason they did that held the Bills to 0 yards rushing on 10 carries, pinned their ears back.
And the reason the Buffalo Bills are in first place this season is defense.
And they're led by Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett, and they celebrate with the heart attack sack.
So defense probably will be the key for the Bills today. What do you see the game shaping up? What will each team have to do to win?
Tom, I feel that the Indianapolis Colts have to diversify their running attack with a passing game. They're only averaging 128 yards passing on the season, well below NFL standards. Do some play-action passing on first down. Utilize Eric Dickerson's abilities. Create some running lanes for Eric Dickerson. And Buffalo, on the other hand, they have to diversify Jim Kelly's passing abilities with a running attack. They're only rushing for 87 yards per game and really putting too much of the burden on Jim Kelly and really making it tough for the offensive linemen to protect Jim Kelly. So both teams have to diversify their offensive attack.
The Indianapolis coach, Ron Meyer, who told us yesterday that this was a must-win game for his team to have any hopes of repeating as Eastern Division champion. And Marv Levy across the field directing the Buffalo Bills, and off to a great start at 4-1 and in first place in the AFC East. The Indianapolis Colts have won the toss and will receive. This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Scott Norwood will kick it off for the Buffalo Bills. He's teeing the ball up at the moment. And Albert Bentley at the goal line is deep for Indianapolis. The fourth straight sellout here at Rich Stadium. 80,000 strong, and the game about to get underway. It rained this morning, but no rain the past couple of hours. Here's Norwood's kick. Sort of a squib kick that gets by everybody and into the end zone, out of the end zone for the touchback. Bentley couldn't handle it on the squib kick, and Indianapolis will have it at its own 20. Here's a look at the starting lineup now, the offensive unit for the Indianapolis Colts. Chris Chandler, the rookie, is the quarterback out of Washington. Dickerson leads the league in rushing. Bentley, Verdin, Brooks, and Beach. Brooks is the leading receiver. And the offensive line for the Colts. A big line averaging over 290 pounds. Chris Hinton beaten a year ago badly by Bruce Smith of the Bills. First down for the Colts. Two tight ends in the lineup. Dickerson is the lone setback. Pass on first down. Chandler, diving grab, but no good, out of bounds. Brooks made a great catch, but he was out of bounds. Derek Burrows covering on the play for the Bills.
You know, Tom, it's amazing. It's almost like the Buffalo Bills defensive coaches were in the game plan. Look at Shane Conlon, number 58 in the blue. He comes on a blitz as Chandler delivers the football on an out pattern. Nice effort, sells out, just does not keep both feet in bounds, catches the football out of bounds by number 80, Brooks. But they blitzed on first down. It's like the Bills knew the Colts were going to pass the football on the first play of the game.
So it's 2nd and 10 for Indianapolis. Albert Bentley into the lineup. Double wide receivers to the right. Dickerson a little closer to Chandler to hear the cadence. Now he backs up into the tailback spot. And again, a play-action pass. Complete to the 40-yard line. Brooks goes up to get it. Burrows takes him to the turf. But a 20-yard strike. Chandler to Brooks for a Colt first down.
Unbelievable matchup inside once again. Shane Conlon came on the blitz, and Eric Dickerson leveled him, but we're going to go and see how the ball get downfield after Eric Dickerson's block. Just a little pass in the zone over the linebackers in front of the defensive backs. Great concentration on the football by Brooks. The hit was provided in there very defectively by Derek Burrows, but a little bit too late.
16th catch of the season for Bill Brooks, who showed no fear going across the middle and leaving his feet to make the grab. Third straight pass for the Colts. Chandler fires another one, and it falls incomplete. Burrows knocked it loose from Brooks that time. Let's check the defensive starting lineup now for the Buffalo Bills. And Bruce Smith, who was the MVP in the Pro Bowl a year ago, is back for the second week after a 30-day suspension for substance abuse. And the veteran Art Sill,
78 defense, lined up in the zone. First down.
You heard the call by referee Tom Dooley, as a penalty against the Buffalo Bills will make it 1st and 5 as you check the rest of the lineup for the Buffalo Bills. And of course the linebackers, Bennett and Conlon specifically, are among the best in the AFC, in fact in all of professional football. First and 5 for the Colts at their own 45-yard line. This drive began on the 20 to open the game. Chandler again will pass. Bentley with a one-handed grab picks up another first down in Bill territory at about the 47-yard line. 12-yard gain. Cornelius Bennett nudged him out of bounds.
Boy, Ron Meyer is answering his critics right here. He's thrown the football every single down. And what it's going to do is create running lanes for Eric Dickerson later in the game. Here, Chandler's provided great protection. Pump fakes the football. Look at this catch. One hand, boom. No stick 'em. That's just concentration on the football. Brings both feet down in bounds. Tremendous catch by Albert Bentley. Once again, one-hand stab, controls it to his chest. Great play by Bentley.
Ball spotted at the 43-yard line where the Colts have a first down. Here's their first running play. It's Bentley. Gets the corner. And to the 35-yard line. Gain of about 8. Derek Burrows finally took him down.
Albert Bentley is a fine talent, Tom. I mean, this guy was second in the entire National Football League in all-purpose yards to Herschel Walker. By all-purpose yards, I mean kickoff returns, receptions, as well as running the football. He's a quality football player.
This year only the 3rd leading rusher on the Colt team, and he goes out replaced by Mark Boyer as the Colts go with 2 tight ends on a 2nd and 1. Eric Dickerson has not carried the ball in the drive. We played almost 7 minutes. The first drive of the game. The Colts have advanced from their own 20. Pitch to Dickerson. And the Bills were ready for him. Ray Bentley got the penetration. He tripped Dickerson up for a loss on the play.
Boy, it's tough to be a great one. Everybody keys on you. Eric Dickerson deep in that formation, takes the pitch, tries to take it outside. Great contained by the Bill defense. Bentley just pursues the play from the backside, makes an ankle tackle. But look at that, 5 blue jerseys closing in on Eric Dickerson. He draws a crowd every time he handles a football.
Ray Bentley gets credit for the stop, getting into the Colt backfield and setting up a third down play. Third and about 6. Fake to Wansley, who replaced Dickerson as Chandler goes long. Verdin, penalty flag down. Verdin comes out of there with a football. Clarence Verdin
works his way off the line of scrimmage. Burrows gets his hands up to the face mask, but it's later on as the penalty goes and makes contact with his arms before the football actually arrives to Clarence Verdin. Early contact by Burrows, properly called pass interference.
Here's Tom Dooley.
Pass interference. Number 29 defense. First down.
So Derek Burrows called for the interference. Verdin had pushed off a couple of times, but Burrows got in there. And the Bills had led the league in penalties, had committed the fewest penalties until a week ago. And against the Bears, they were hampered by the penalties somewhat.
Right, they had 9 penalties. They're still tied for the fewest in the NFL, but 9 of the 23 were last weekend, as you say, Tom.
And they did have that stat all alone, now are tied. Dickerson is in on first down for the Colts. Ball is on the 14-yard line. Draw play. And again, they're ready for Dickerson. Blue shirts swamp him under with Cornelius Bennett leading the charge.
Once again, Dickerson draws a crowd, and it seems like the Bills' defensive philosophy is stop Eric Dickerson, let the supporting cast do their thing, but they are not going to let Eric Dickerson beat them this afternoon. Last season's game, as we mentioned, 19 yards and 11 carries. He's in negative yardage now on 2 carries.
The last time the Colts and the Bills met in December at the Hoosier Dome, the Bills really put the throttle on the Colts running game and held Dickerson to a career low 19 yards. In 2 carries today, he has negative yardage. 2nd and 9. Chandler's pass for the end zone. Intended for Mark Boyer, the tight end, with Leonard Smith covering on the play to knock it away, and it's incomplete.
Cornelius Bennett provided the pressure, knocked Chris Chandler right to the ground. Just an unbelievable rush. Chandler watch number 55, Cornelius Bennett, come in from that right side and provide the hit. Good effort in the back corner of the end zone. Just overthrown Mark Boyer. Watch number 55 in the blue from the bottom of your screen. Comes in unblocked. Boom. Delivers a hit right to the right shoulder blade of Chris Chandler. That's potential injury right there.
It's 3rd and 9 from the 13-yard line of the Bills. For the end zone. Scramble for the ball. It's incomplete. Mark Kelso knocked it away from Matt Booza, the intended receiver, and the Colts will face a 4th down and a field goal situation.
Once again, Cornelius Bennett provided the pass rush. He lined up at right defensive end on that play. First, he lined up at left outside linebacker, pressured the quarterback, then they moved him over to right defensive end, pressured the quarterback. They say, might as well let Cornelius Bennett take a shot at everybody up and down that cold offensive line.
So Dean Biasucci is on to try a 32-yard field goal. He's 9 of 11 in the field goal department, and you saw very good from this distance. Ron Stark, the punter, will be the holder. Biasucci's kick is good. So the Indianapolis Colts get a field goal, relying mostly on the pass for the drive, and they lead the Bills 3-0. And here at Rich Stadium, it's 3-0. The Indianapolis Colts began on their 20. As we check one more score, Dallas with a touchdown against Washington. And Dean Biasucci will kick it off for the Indianapolis Colts. He kicked the field goal that gave the Colts a 3-0 lead on their opening drive of the game. So the Bills will have a chance for the football. Tucker is deep for Buffalo. Ball taken by Johnson, who finds a lane up the sideline and takes it across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Let's take a look at the starting offensive lineup now for the Buffalo Bills. Veteran Tim Vogler will be back in the lineup today. As you see the backs and receivers, Jim Kelly, who is hitting about over 50% of his passes, 6th rated passer in the AFC, and Vogler back in the lineup off injured reserve, and Walford moves back to his customary left tackle spot on that offensive line, which should help the play of the offensive line somewhat today. First down for the Bills at their own 33-yard line. Kelly will go up top. And the pass is complete to Burkett. Chris Burkett makes a first down grab at about the 47-yard line of Buffalo. 16-yard gain. Chris Good, who got a start for the Colts today, knocked him out of bounds.
Just a nice pattern run by Burkett, and watch the protection that Kelly gets. Everybody's wired at the line of scrimmage. 5-yard separation. His vision's totally unimpeded. Burkett, boy, he hits him on a comeback pattern right between the 8 and the 5. Really nice coverage provided by Chris Good on that play, but just a tremendous throw by Jim Kelly.
First down for the Buffalo Bills on their own 47-yard line. Metzelars goes in motion, and the first running play for the Bills to give is to Thurman Thomas. Thurman Thomas takes it for 12 yards down to the 40 of the Colts. Mike Pryor stops him there.
Thurman Thomas, the second-round draft choice by the Buffalo Bills. Of course, the first pick that they had this season did not have a first-round choice. Has been a real find, a real keeper. Here it's just back deep in the I formation, makes nice read, nice running lane, accelerates, just positive yardage. Thurman Thomas leads leads all rookies in rushing and total yards. He's been a quality back for the Buffalo Bills this season.
First down for the Bills at the Colt 41-yard line. Thomas again gets only a couple this time before he's tripped up by John Hand, starting defensive end for the Colts. And here is a look at that Colt defensive unit today. Up front, Byron Darby gets a start at nose tackle, replacing a nicked-up Joe Klecko. Among the linebackers, Fred Young moves inside, replacing Cliff Odom, who walked out of practice earlier in the week. It means outside two, rookie O'Brien Alston gets a start. And in the secondary, Good gets his first start, and so does Swope, as Ron Meyer shakes up his defensive unit a bit here at Buffalo. 2nd and 9 for the Bills. Kelly's pass, picked off. Barry Krause got the deflection and cradled it in for his interception, his first interception of the season. A tipped ball off the hand of the intended receiver, Andre Reed, and Krause makes the grab for Indianapolis.
Andre Reed, flanked out wide, takes about a 5-yard step in his pattern, comes directly across the middle. Tough ball, tough catchable ball. Barry Krause does a nice job, heads up play on the tip. Colts ball when we return.
Indianapolis Colts with an interception off a poor Jim Kelly pass.
Exactly. Andre Reed did everything he could just to get a hand on that football. The ball was thrown too high. Nice concentration by Barry Krause to come up with his first interception.
And Jim Kelly throwing his 7th interception of the season. He has only 2 touchdown passes, and that was his 7th interception. Colts with a first down at their own 39-yard line, leading 3-0 with 8:59 remaining in the first quarter. Chandler. Pass complete to Bentley. Bentley down to the 46-yard line before Cornelius Bennett stops his forward progress. 7-yard gain on the pass completion. And again, the Colts relying on the arm of Chris Chandler to move the football.
I think it's a good thought. It's a good game plan, diversifying their offense. And here we'll see the giveaway takeaway differential between the two teams. Buffalo, of course, +2, and the Colts dead even now with that interception by Krause, -1 coming into today's game. But using other people besides Eric Dickerson is the way to attack this Bills defense.
2nd and 3 for Indianapolis. again complete to the tight end Mark Boyer, who takes it for a first down to the Bills' 45-yard line, where he's stopped by Ray Bentley.
Once again, good pass protection by that Indianapolis Colt offensive line. Watching the bottom of your screen, number 78 in the blue, Bruce Smith, defeats the guard, Dixon, but who's there? Boom. Chris Hinton, the Pro Bowler. It's a tough day at the office, boy, when two people are paying attention to you all afternoon long. That's respect, and Bruce Smith has really earned that respect by MVP in the Pro Bowl last season.
He wreaked havoc against the Colts in December at the Hoosier Dome last year. He was Defensive Player of the Week after a 6-tackle, 3-sack performance against Indianapolis. First down for the Colts at the 45 of the Bills. Chandler again will throw, and he goes deep. Verdin, incomplete. Derek Burrows, who was called for interference on the first Colt drive against Verdin, was with him step for step that way all the way into the end zone.
And Darryl Talley, outside linebacker, number 56, put a mean hit on Chandler, but the ball's already airborne. Burrows once again dangerously close to making contact prior to the ball arriving to Clarence Verdin, but good pass defense on that play.
Mark Kelso got over at the last minute to help out and knock the ball away.
Burrows' mistake is he's not getting his head back to the football. He's just playing the receiver, and he's really running in danger of making early contact every time he doesn't turn for the football.
2nd and 10. So far, Eric Dickerson, the league's leading rusher, has been a decoy. Chandler again, and again complete. It'll be enough for another Colt first down as Mark Bellini makes the catch, and Derek Burrows stops him, but not until the Colts pick up 12 yards and another first down.
Is this the Indianapolis Colts? I mean, they're throwing the football with regularity, and Chris Chandler's doing a fine job. Standing in the midst of pressure, standing up. Watch, he steps up in the pocket, delivers a strike, a bullet. Great concentration by Bellini. Burrows makes a hit right between the shoulder blades, and Bellini holds on.
Chandler, so far, nearly 52% of his passes coming into today's game against the Bills. First down at the 33 of Buffalo. Bentley, stopped for no gain. Cornelius Bennett smelled out the draw play. Let's check our 10-minute ticker now. The Jets, after getting a safety, as Marty Lyons stopped Boomer Esiason for a safety, add a touchdown and go up 9-0 on the unbeaten Bengals. Cleveland up 7-0 on Seattle. Still the Rams 3-0 over Atlanta. And Washington and Dallas tied at 7, while Minnesota leads Tampa Bay. 2nd and 12 for Indianapolis. Chandler overshoots his man, but a flag on the play, and it could be another interference against Buffalo. Verdin was the intended receiver, and Kelso might have popped him after the play was over.
Once again, Verdin coming across the middle, lines up wide, plants at the 20-yard line, up high as he can. They're going to call a late hit on that play. Kelso, the ball was overthrown. Kelso put a mean hit right in the back of Verdin.
Bentley got a piece of him as well. So once again, a Buffalo Bill penalty keeps a Colt drive alive. As we mentioned earlier, the Bills had been very strong in the non-mistake category of not committing foolish penalties, but not so last week and not so today so far.
That's right. The Bills, they characteristically make you earn everything. Nothing cheap. Don't give up the big play. They haven't been doing that very well so far in the first quarter.
First down at the 30 for the Colts. Verdin, Bouza, and Brooks, 3 wide receivers in. Bentley and Dickerson are the running backs. Bentley in motion. Here's Dickerson. This time, he crosses the 20 down to the 16-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. Derek Burrows finally stopped him, but the first good run of the day for Dickerson, who picks up 14 yards on his 3rd carry of the afternoon.
Once again, finally, the Buffalo Bill defense starting to soften a little bit. He's to find some running lanes. Nice block provided on Cornelius Bennett. Then you just can't coach speed. Nice downfield block by receiver Clarence Verdin on Derek Burrows. Allowed Eric Dickerson an extra 4 yards on that play.
So the Colts, leading 3-0, have a first down at the Bills' 17, as you see the leading numbers on Eric Dickerson for rushing yardage. Chris Chandler. Out pattern is complete. Shane Conlon stopping Dickerson after a short gain on the play, as Dickerson gets into the act of receiving the football.
And that is a test of a quarterback's arm strength in the National Football League. Chandler takes his drop, an out pattern on a frozen rope. Good coverage provided by Shane Conlon. That ball is just a bullet. The only person that can catch the football is Eric Dickerson. Conlon, once again, nice coverage, but Chandler put the ball out there in a hurry.
Marv Levy's defense backed up again by the Colts, who have it 2nd and 6 at the 13 of the Bills. Indianapolis leading 3-0, 4:20 left first quarter. Chris Chandler under pressure, still got it away and complete to the 5-yard line, where Pat Beach takes it for the Indianapolis Colts. I believe enough for a first down before Mark Kelso spins him to the turf. 6 or 7 yards. It looked like he got almost to the 5 before he was spun back. We'll see where they mark the forward progress. It is enough for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Colts.
Once again, Chan was showing tremendous poise in the pocket. Fred Smerlis was right in his face, did a little sidestep maneuver, and then just sheer arm strength. No body mechanics at all. Was not able to step toward the line of scrimmage and throw the football. Showed a tremendous arm strength to get the completion away.
Chandler impressive here in the first quarter. The Colts on 1st and goal at the 6. Dickerson rambles to the 1-yard line. That was Pat Beach, number 81, who made a good block in front of Dickerson, who takes it all the way to the 1, where it'll be 2nd and goal.
Once again, one of the reasons the Colts are doing such a good job is they're diversifying their offense. Right here, they go back to the running game, let the offensive line come off the football a little bit. Eric Dickerson finds very little running room, but then he cuts up inside and heads north and south in a hurry, gets to the 1-yard line. Really, that was a great run by Dickerson. Not much at the point of attack. Decided to cut back and get his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage and get all he could.
Dickerson used mostly as a decoy today, but toting that one to the 1-yard line, and you see that he is the best at running the football in the NFL. 2nd and goal from the 1. Chandler. And he's in for the touchdown. Chris Chandler on the quarterback sneak takes the Indianapolis Colts in for the score, as the Colts turn the Buffalo turnover, the interception by Krause, into the first touchdown of the game.
And that young man right there, number 17, Chris Chandler, is doing a great job. Hey, this guy's 6'4", 210 pounds. What the heck? It's like another running back. Great surge by the Colts offensive line. Did you see the surge? There was not a blue jersey that touched Chandler till he was 2 yards into the end zone. Fred Smerlis just popped back out of there like a cork. Tremendous surge by that offensive line that averages 294 pounds.
Biasucci with a point after. It's good. And the Indianapolis Colts have shocked the Buffalo Bills early. The diversified attack has led the Colts to a 10-0 lead.
Here, the Bengals are off to their best start in over a decade, but there'll be no Tea Party in New England when they battle the Patriots.
Or the hard-nosed Oilers rekindle a bitter rivalry in Steeltown when they battle the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Marv Levy finds his division leading Buffalo Bills down 10-0 in the first quarter. Do you change anything at this point?
No, I think it's premature to do that, Tom. Stick with your game plan. If you go on a touchdown drive, it's 10-7. There's still 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Stay with your game plan. Don't panic. Fire and fall back every down. It's too early for that.
Dean Biasucci will kick it off for the Indianapolis Colts, with Tucker deep for the Bills. This will be Johnson again, up the sideline, and again, good running room. He slips down, but not until he gets to the 35, and he might have gotten more had he not slipped at that point. The Indianapolis Colts with an impressive drive after the interception by Krause. They cover 61 yards in 10 plays, just over 6 minutes on the clock, with Chandler, who's been the star of the game so far, taking it in on the quarterback sneak.
Chris Chandler right now 7 of 11 for 71 yards through the air, and of course he's got that 1 touchdown rushing the football. The Colts are doing a good job diversifying on first down. They've passed more than run, and I think that's a little bit of a surprise for the Buffalo Bills.
We mentioned the Colts' 4 losses have been by a total of 17 points. This 10-0 lead is their biggest lead of the entire season. Bills have it with a first down at their own 35. Kelly's pass complete. Nice catch by Andre Reed, who did a 360 and then is knocked out of bounds by Chris Good. The pass was behind Reed, but he made a nice grab.
Reed was very athletic, had to just come back for the football. Here he comes in motion across the entire backfield, times it perfectly, works his way upfield in a little out pattern, has to do an entire turn in midair to adjust to the football. Good concentration, made the catch.
Andre Reed, leading receiver on this Buffalo team and second in the AFC in receptions, trailing only Schuler of the Jets. Had 7 catches against the Bears a week ago. That one went for 8 yards at 2nd and 2. Thomas pounds ahead and comes close to the first down marker. He's across the 45. It should be enough for the first down. John Hand and Barry Krause combining on the tackle for the Colts. It is a Bill first down.
Nice individual effort by Thurman Thomas. He was hit, contacted severely short of first down yardage, but then he spun himself, redirected his balance, got himself north and south for another 3 yards in the first down.
Ron Meyer, his critics said he relied too much on Eric Dickerson. He has answered the critics in the first quarter today with a very diversified attack led by the rookie, Chris Chandler. Pitch it to Thomas. Thomas stacked up and dropped at the 45. Dwayne Bickett, outside linebacker on that side, made the initial hit for the Indianapolis Colts and then got help from Fred Young.
Dwayne Bickett he's starting to establish himself as one of the top 10 defensive players in the National Football League at that linebacker position. Here's the pitch to Thurman Thomas. Cuts up inside. Boom. Bickett makes a nice initial hit. That's Fred Young, makes his hit from the inside linebacker position. Double team on Thurman Thomas, nowhere to go.
Bickett and Young, Pro Bowl performers a year ago. 2nd and 11 for Buffalo. Kelly's pass, too long and incomplete. Intended for Metzelaars, the tight end, but about 2 feet over his head. And the boos rain down here at Rich Stadium for the beleaguered Jim Kelly.
Once again, last week, Jim Kelly overthrew his receivers with regularity early in the Chicago Bear football game. Once he made the adjustment with his release point, then the offensive line broke down and didn't afford him enough protection. Here this afternoon, once again, he's throwing the ball high. He's overthrowing all his passes. He's got to stride the line of scrimmage a little bit more, and release point has to be more consistent.
Harmon and Riddick are in for the Bills on 3rd and 11. Kelly from the shotgun. And it's complete to the 45 of the Colts. Rob Riddick made the catch. It'll be close to the first down marker. Craig Swope made the stop for Indianapolis, and they'll check it out. It'll be close for the first down.
Boy, if it's not a first down, it's big decision time, but obviously Marv Levy has made his decision. His punt team is already working their way out on the football field with John Kidd. Once again, Jim Kelly, all kinds of time. His vision is not obstructed whatsoever. That's a better pass. Still a little bit high, but it was a well-thrown football. Nice reception. Almost a first down provided by Rob Riddick, depending on what the measurement is here.
Kelly comes back on the field as the chains come across from the far side.
This will be interesting. If it's 4th and inches, what do you do, Tom? Do you go for it?
That's what it's going to be.
Now here's decision time for Marv Levy. Do you have enough confidence in that Bill defense if you don't make it that the Bills will hold? He's made the decision to go for it. This is a critical point of this football game.
And it's the Bill running attack that has been sputtering this season, held to 0 yards by the Bears last week. And here on 4th and inches, they're going to go for it with a ball spotted just inside the 45-yard line of Indianapolis. And the Colts leading 10-0 with 48 seconds left in the first quarter. Carl Byram and Rob Riddick are in. The Bills have converted 3 of 4 on 4th down this season. 4th and inches. It will be Riddick for the first down. He's all the way to the 40 and to the 39 of the Colts. Dwayne Bickett hauls him down there. But Rob Riddick, the 7-year veteran from Millersville State, a 9th-round draft choice, pounds ahead for the Bill first down.
There was no hesitation in Rob Riddick's mind. Good surge by the Buffalo Bill front 5 on the Indianapolis Colts front 7. Made a nice seam for Riddick to take advantage of, and he just pounded it in there.
So the drive for the Bills, which began on their own 35, stays alive as the first quarter comes to an end. That's the end of the first quarter at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, with the Colts leading the Bills 10-0. Cincinnati 9-0. Roger Vick on a 1-yard run after Lyons tackled Esiason for the safety. Seattle and Cleveland are tied up. Mack and Warner with touchdown runs for their respective teams. Kansas City in front of Houston. New England leads. McMahon hits McKinnon for a touchdown pass. The Bears 7-0 on Detroit. Rams playing well and leading 10-0. As you see the other scores around the NFL in the early starting games today. Well, the Bulldozers have been held in check through the first quarter by the Indianapolis Colts, but their drive now has reached the 39 of Indianapolis, where they have a first down. Thomas hit and dropped for a gain of maybe 1. Craig Swope, the strong safety, came up in a hurry to stop the rookie Thomas after maybe a 1-yard gain.
Swope made a nice play on that. He actually sliced in behind the blocking and caught Thurman Thomas from behind. Now, Jim Kelly should take note of that and think, hey, let's run a little play-action pass and make him pay for supporting the run so well.
Here are the first quarter stats. The surprise would be the yards passing on behalf of the Colts, who have dominated the time of possession as well. Kelly goes deep and overshoots Burkett. He wanted the interference call. Burkett and Willie Tullis were battling and bumping. Burkett wanted the flag but didn't get it.
They've liberalized that a little bit this season, Tom. They allow a little bit more jostling, almost like hand checking in the NBA that goes on downfield right now. But Burkett felt that he was redirected out of his pass route. And there's the contact. And Burkett feels right there that he was taken out of his pass route and redirected a little bit. Therefore, a penalty should be called. Referee didn't see it that way.
I don't know if it was a catchable pass or not either. It was pretty long.
Right.
3rd and 9. Kelly throws it complete to Ronnie Harmon, but it'll be short of the first down. Kelly had his pressure break down at the last minute. Just did get rid of it to Harmon, but short of the first down, and a punting situation coming up for Buffalo.
Jim Kelly stayed in the pocket as long as he possibly could. Sat in there. The protection does break free, and then he delivers the football to Harmon for positive yardage. Kelly showed some nice courage on this play, because watch, he steps in that pocket, and Armstrong beats the right guard Vogel a little bit. Hand, Donnell Thompson, everybody meets at the quarterback. Boy, that's a mass of humanity falling on top of him.
Here's Scott Norwood to attempt a 52-yard field goal. His longest has been 49. And it's no good. It comes up short. Norwood trying one from 52 yards, but it comes up short, and the Bills still have yet to get on the scoreboard. They trail Indianapolis 10-0 in the second quarter. We'll be back to Rich Stadium right after these messages.
Today's game is brought to you by Acura, precision crafted performance exclusively at your Acura dealer. By GTE. At GTE, the power is on. And by the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be.
Tom Hammond and Dave Lapham at Rich Stadium, 10-0. The Colts leading the Bills. Colts with a first down, and Chandler blitz, tossed up the football. I believe the Colts got it back. Eric Dickerson was the man that fell on the football as Darryl Talley, number 56, came on the blitz. Chandler lost it, but Dickerson got it back.
I'm glad Eric Dickerson fell on that football for his sake, because it looked like Darryl Talley was his responsibility, and Talley just blew inside on Eric Dickerson. Watch the right side of the screen. Eric Dickerson comes out, boom! Darryl Talley, 56, and the blue comes inside, knocks the football free, blindside from Chris Chandler. Eric Dickerson reacts back to fall on it.
First sack of the game for the Buffalo Bills. Darryl Talley getting the Colts for an 8-yard loss at 2nd and 18. Chandler. And he's taken down again. Art Still is the man pressuring him this time.
That's the 4th sack of the season for Art Still, a rejuvenated Art Still. Of course, the Bills picked him up in a trade from the Kansas City Chiefs. Watching the left-hand side of the screen, takes an inside pass, move on the guard, just beats him right away, and they call it in the grass when the play is dead.
So that'll go in the books as the 2nd sack, as perhaps the Bills are adjusting to the passing game of the Colts. And here is Gary Hogeboom coming in at quarterback to replace Chandler on 3rd and 25. Hogeboom in the shotgun. 3 ball, and the Bills have it. They tried the shovel pass.
Incomplete pass.
It'll be ruled incomplete. It'll be, no, now one official says Buffalo's ball.
That's incorrect. It should be a forward pass and incompletion. Yes, it is. That's a safe play. That cannot be a fumble. A shovel pass is a forward pass, and they've now made the adjustment.
Leonard Smith fell on it, but it's ruled an incomplete pass. One official had signaled Buffalo's ball, but it is an incomplete forward pass. Here it is again from Hogeboom.
Hogeboom shovel pass to Eric Dickerson, hits him right in the lap, falls incomplete. And that's the reason that is a safe call, because you don't run the risk of fumbling the football. The worst scenario is an incompletion.
Ron Stark is on to punt for the first time today, averaging 46 yards a kick, 2nd in the NFL. And Tucker is deep for the Bills. First punt of the day for Indianapolis. And Stark shanks it, but it gets a good Indianapolis bounce. Here's Tucker back to midfield, twists his way and is taken down there. So once again, it's been the defense of the Bills that lights a spark. Let's see if they can take advantage of it now offensively.
That Bill defense is tough.
34-yard kick by Stark, and the Bills will have it when we come back.
Plays here. The Bengals are off to their best start in over a decade, but there'll be no tea party in New England when they battle the Patriots.
Or the hard-nosed Oilers rekindle a bitter rivalry in Steel Town when they battle the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Gary Hogeboom on the sideline had been at quarterback for the Colts on the last play before the punt. The Bills have it with a first down at midfield, trailing 10-0. 11:50 left in the first half. Kelly's pass tipped and falls incomplete. Kelly with another incomplete pass on a tipped pass. And let's go back to that Gary Hogeboom shovel pass.
And watch, Eric Dickerson just comes in front of Gary Hogeboom with his left hand forward pass. That's an incompletion. The Buffalo Bills, though, take no chance, fall on it, thinking that it could be a fumble. But it is an incompleted pass.
2nd and 10 for the Buffalo Bills. Spread formation with double wide receivers to the right. Mueller is the lone setback. Kelly's pass complete. Metzelaars makes the grab, but is short of the first down. He got about 8 yards before Fred Young stopped him. It'll be about 3rd and a couple of yards for the first down.
Buffalo Bills offensive line is recovering from the bad performance against the Chicago Bears last week. They've really been providing Jim Kelly with excellent protection. He's been standing in that pocket for 5 seconds or more. Granted, the Colts don't have the pass rush that the Bears do, but the Bills offensive line has a lot of pride, and they've improved their performance.
3rd and 2, Harmon and Riddick are into the game for Buffalo as Kelly lines up in the shotgun. Sends Harmon on a wing to the right. Kelly, incomplete. Again, the pass too tall. Intended for, I guess, Trumaine Johnson. It's tough to tell because the pass was high, and that has been the problem all day for Jim Kelly. What would cause a quarterback to consistently throw high to his receivers?
It could be a couple of things, Tom. He might not be taking a long enough stride to the line of scrimmage. His release point is inconsistent, like a pitcher that throws a fastball continuously high. Also, he might not be able to, it's a little bit cold and damp out there, may not be able to get a good feel for the football.
Here's John Kidd. His kick is short, bounces out of bounds at about the 24-yard line of the Indianapolis Colts. So we'll take a timeout with 10:51 left in the half and a 10-0 Indianapolis lead. Back at Rich Stadium, let's check the other scores. Cincinnati on the board after a 60-yard pass. Esias into Eddie Brown. They missed the extra point, though, and trail by 3. You see the other scores. Indianapolis with a first down after a 19-yard punt. And the give is to Dickerson. Dickerson takes it to the 25, perhaps the 26, before Art Still makes the stop. Still, who came over to the Bills from the Kansas City Chiefs. There's Chris Chandler, the rookie quarterback who had done so well for the Colts in the first quarter, on the sideline now in favor of Gary Hogeboom, and we're still awaiting word from the Colt bench to see if Chandler were injured. Second down and 6. Hogeboom completes the pass to Booza. And Matt Booza out of bounds after picking up a first down. Dwight Drain nudged him out of bounds, but it goes for 9 yards, and the Colts, off the arm of Hogeboom, have another first down.
Hogeboom did a nice job that time, Tom, rolling out a semi-rollout on his own behind his left tackle to avoid a little bit of pressure, buy himself some more time, and delivered the ball nicely to the sideline.
Chris Chandler, we understand, has a bruised sternum and may not return today. Bruised sternum on Chris Chandler, the rookie quarterback, who directed the Colts to their 10 points. Hogeboom had started the first game for the Colts against Houston and completed 15 of 20 passes that day. Here he is to put it up again. And he has a man. It's complete. It's Verdin, who takes it all the way inside the 40-yard line of the Buffalo Bills, where Sherman Cockcroft, who is in there for Mark Kelso, makes a saving tackle.
And Verdin is a speed guy, the big play person at wide receiver on the smallish variety. Fakes an out pattern, out and up. Then he just turns defensive back, burrows around, watch this move upfield. Realizes he's got some territory to gain here. And the first guy that can make a hit on him is Cockcroft after a nice reception and run with the football by Clarence Verdin.
5'8", 163 pounds, 3 years out of Southwest Louisiana. That one went for 27. And again, Verdin down the sideline almost made a diving catch. Derek Burrows was with him, and Sherman Cockcroft was also over there, number 20. Cockcroft has come in at free safety, replacing Mark Kelso, who has a head injury.
Hogeboom said, let's go after Derek Burrows a little bit. Ran a little streak pattern, trying to get some separation. Verdin, that's a catchable football. Clarence Verdin is very disappointed by the fact that he was not able to bring that football in. Would have been a first and goal situation for the Colts at about the 5-yard line. 9 out of 10 times, that's a catch for that young man.
Seems like the Colts have been picking on Derek Burrows so far here in the first half.
In Verdin, you notice the Colts trying to stretch the Bills' defense. They got long and deep with Verdin.
Verdin is out. Matt Booza is in on 2nd and 10 from the Bill 39. Hogeboom quickly in and out of the hands of Mark Boyer, the tight end, who was running a crossing pattern and was covered by Leonard Smith.
Gary Hogeboom, quite frankly, should have 2 consecutive completions. Verdin dropped a catchable ball, and so did Boyer on consecutive passes. Hogeboom's thrown the ball very well. I don't think he has the arm strength that he once did, has had shoulder surgery, elbow surgery, can't zip the ball with the velocity that he had in his early years, but still a very capable quarterback.
The tight ends go out now, as you see the clock stopped at 9:22, and the Colts leading the Bills 10-0. It's 3rd and 10, Verdin, Booza, and Brooks, along with Bentley and Dickerson. Hogeboom drops back for the end zone. Verdin, touchdown. A 39-yard touchdown strike, Hogeboom to Verdin, who had beaten Nate Odoms on the play.
Goes to the other side, so let's try Odoms with Verdin a little bit. Makes nice release off the line of scrimmage, gets inside position, then just flat out runs Odoms. Nice ball by Hogeboom, takes Verdin right to the end zone. As we said, the big play guy, Clarence Verdin, he's got the speed. Here it is again, right over the shoulder. Perfect throw by Hogeboom.
Dean Biasucci on for the extra point, off the hold from Ron Stark. And the kick is good.
Extra point is good.
So the Indianapolis Colts, with only 1 win in the books this season, faced with a must-victory situation here, go on top of the Buffalo Bills 17-0 with 9:16 left in the half. Indianapolis Colts relying on the passing game today, and it gets them another score.
Great pass protection up front. Hogeboom delivers a perfect ball to Verdin. The Colts have 144 yards passing already. They've been averaging 128 per game already in the second quarter, 144.
That was a 6-play drive that covered 77 yards. Biasucci's kick taken by Tucker at the 8. Tucker with a good return, totes it out to the 32-yard line where the Bills will have it first down. And there's a flag on the play. Well, Gary Hogeboom has complained after losing his job, as you see the holding call against Buffalo, signaled by Tom Dooley.
Gary Hogeboom goes right to his offensive line, says, nice job up front, guys. Way to give me time to throw the football. He's a pumped-up young man right now.
On the receiving team.
Goes to every single offensive lineman.
Carl Byram is guilty of the hold for Buffalo, which puts the Bills back to the 19-yard line, where they'll start their offense. There's Gary Hogeboom with a jacket on.
He knows where his bread's buttered. He went right to that old line and said, way to give me time, guys. Keep it up.
Buffalo now has been penalized 4 times for 45 yards, and the Colts yet to be whistled for an infraction. Jim Kelly. Metzelars to the 40 and a Bill first down. Fred Young chases him down, but a 20-yard strike is Metzelars. The big tight end, 6'7", 250, makes a first down grab. Let's pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Tom Hammond and Dave Lapham, Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Colts leading the Bills 17-0 with 8.5 minutes left in the first half. It's been the air game of Indianapolis that has told the story of the first half. Here's Jamie Mueller carrying the ball for Buffalo, and John Hand gets the tackle for Indianapolis. And Jim Kelly now must get his arm in shape and get the Buffalo air game going. The Colts just completing a drive that covered 77 yards in 6 plays with a 39-yard strike. Hogeboom to Verdin for the score. Kelly has been consistently high with his passes here in the first half. 2nd and 8 for Buffalo. Kelly with time again completes the pass to Metzelars. He's down at midfield, and it should be enough for the first down. Fred Young stopped Metzelars after he made the first down catch. The Bengals have seesawed back on top of the Jets after trailing at one point 9-0. Seattle leads Cleveland. Kansas City still in front of the Oilers. And here at Rich Stadium, it's 17-0. The Indianapolis Colts of Ron Meyer leading the Buffalo Bills. And the Colts, the defending AFC East Division champions, currently in the cellar and hoping to get back into the race with a win over Buffalo. On first down, Thurman Thomas lost the ball. Metzelars gets it back for Buffalo. Fred Young made the hip on Thomas that knocked the ball loose, but Metzelars able to jump on it.
The play was out of sync from the word go. Watch how Jim Kelly hesitates. Double pumps. Oop, double clutch the pitch. That throws it out of whack a little bit. Thurman Thomas has to take it up inside because of the delay. Fred Young, right for the football, strips it out of there. Number 88 in the blue, Pete Metzelars, comes up for the recovery. He's been big in this series. 2 receptions, and he recovered that fumble.
There's Thomas, the rookie, on the sideline as the Bills have a passing situation, 2nd and 8. Harmon in motion. Kelly threw it incomplete behind Metzelars, the intended receiver. And Kelly with another poor pass, but feeling pressure from the rookie linebacker, O'Brien Alston.
And what the Colts have made an adjustment on Metzelars' first 2 receptions. He was isolated one-on-one on linebackers. Fred Young the first time, Dwayne Bickett the second time. That time, Fred Young got some help from Craig Swope, that's easy for me to say, at the safety position. He came up and they doubled Metzelars, so look for Jim Kelly to go to his outside receivers because they're doubling his tight end.
3rd down and 8 to go for the Bills, who have not converted on 3 third-down situations in the game. Kelly It's complete. Chris Burkett makes the catch in traffic, and the Bills keep their drive alive with a first down. Eugene Daniel stopped him, but it was a 16-yard gain. And Kelly comes up with a clutch pass complete to Burkett.
He stayed in that pocket when it started to break down. John Hand made a hit on Kelly up the middle. Jim Kelly stood in there strong and did throw the football. He's starting to bring it down a little bit. Watch, Jim Kelly takes his set. John Hand breaks free, boom, makes a hit to Kelly's left side, but Kelly delivers it right between the 8 and the 5 for Chris Burkett.
Burkett, 4 years out of Jackson State, made the good catch in traffic. There is going to be a penalty. Let's see if the Colts were drawn off as one of the defensive linemen came charging across the line of scrimmage.
Chris Devlin moved.
False start, 70 offense, first down.
That's Joe Devlin of Buffalo, who's guilty of the false start, number 70. And that is the 5th penalty against Buffalo. And they now have been penalized an even 50 yards.
There's number 70, Joe Devlin, coming. Once you get in that three-point stance, you can't do anything. You cannot move a muscle out of that three-point stance. That's a legal procedure.
Indianapolis has not committed a penalty. The Colts with a 12-7 first down edge. Here's Kelly. Plenty of time. Now the coverage breaks down. Kelly hit as he releases the ball. It'll sail out of bounds and incomplete. Kelly got a pretty good blow on the play and is slow getting up. Donnell Thompson really put a hit on him as he was trying to scramble. Kelly's tough, though, among the tougher quarterbacks I've ever seen. 6'3", 218 pounds, and he can take a pounding.
Kelly has all kinds of time to throw the football. Tremendous coverage downfield by the Colts. Pump fakes. Pumps again. What do? He has to run away from Donnell Thompson. Sets himself to deliver the football. John Hand and Donnell Thompson both. The defensive ends meet at the quarterback.
And the Buffalo Bills are going to call a timeout to let Kelly clear his head.
Look at that. Both defensive ends. Boom. Let's meet at the quarterback. Granted, it was after about 7 seconds of protection, but they stung Jim Kelly on that play.
The backup quarterback is Frank Reich. He's played in just 4 NFL games in his entire career. The last time, December 14th, 1986, against the Colts, when Jim Kelly suffered a concussion. There's Kelly trying to clear the cobwebs. Watch Thompson and Hand sandwich Kelly again.
Right after he delivers the football. That's a dangerous position. Jim Kelly just released his pass. Elbow, shoulder totally exposed. And boom, gets hit by 2 defensive ends.
Well, we heard Merlin Olsen on NFL Live talking about a 12th man whose role would be to protect the quarterback. Kelly wishes he had that guy here. What about that concept from Merlin Olsen?
Well, it makes sense. You've got the quarterback with the football. The defense can bring one more man than the offense can pick up. 11 against 10. So that 12th man would even that balance out, but I don't really see it happening.
Harvey Armstrong replaces John Hand on the line for the Colts. There's a false start by Burkett of the Bills. And this one will be called back as Kelly lets it go downfield. The Bills continue to be plagued by penalties. That'll be their 6th penalty. It'll be 55 yards in penalties against Buffalo in the first half. Things falling apart for Buffalo.
Right at the hash mark, watching the middle of the frame at the hash mark, Chris Burkett, he wants to get off the line of scrimmage so desperately, a little bit anxious, and gets off a half a count early. You know, it's, as we mentioned earlier, the Bills came into this afternoon's football game tied for the fewest penalties.
Number 85 offense. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Penalty was declined, so we'll still have 5 penalties, 50 yards against the Buffalo Bills.
And they had 9 penalties last week against the Bears and 5 already today with that one being declined. That's almost as many as they had in the first 4 football games.
3rd and 15 for Buffalo. 5:10 left in the half. Indianapolis up 17-0. Ball's at the 37-yard line of Indianapolis. Kelly again has to scramble. Gets it away. And it's complete. Now a flag goes down. Let's see if the pass is ruled complete or out of bounds and incomplete. It was right on the sideline to Trumaine Johnson.
I saw him signal incomplete, but then he threw his hat to mark the spot. Here's Jim Kelly rolling to the sideline, tries to deliver it downfield, comes back for the football very well.
The ball. Number 86 went out of bounds before he caught ball. Loss of down. 4th down.
There you have the call from Tom Dooley. Tremaine Johnson went out of bounds, then came back in. That's illegal.
Right. Once he goes out of bounds, he no longer is an eligible receiver. Jim Kelly breaks contain, gets outside of the pass rush, and throws the football in desperation downfield. Already at this point, Tremaine Johnson has worked his way out of bounds, come back in bounds to catch the football, and that is illegal.
Nice scramble by Kelly, but all for naught. Mike Pryor will take John Kidd's punt. You see Kidd in punt formation. Kidd sails it high. They'll try to down it before it gets to the end zone, and they've got a chance. Yes, they do. Inside the 5. Down by Butch Roll, who will spot it at about the 3-yard line. 34-yard punt downed inside the 20, which is one of Kidd's specialties. He's the NFL leader in kicks inside the 20 for the last couple of years.
You can see it about the 7 or 8 yard line. Tremaine Johnson stepped out of bounds with both feet, then reestablished his inbounds position. That's illegal. Heads-up call by the side judge on that play. Both feet were on the out-of-bounds line.
Excellent officiating. But Kidd able to nail one inside the 5-yard line. And it backs Indianapolis up with 4:50 remaining in the first half. And Indianapolis leading 17-0.
Great hustle by Mueller. Came down and knocked that play for punt out of the end zone back to roll.
Hogaboom still at quarterback. Eric Dickerson. Thrown back after he reached the 5-yard line. He got about 2 yards. You see the clock ticking away. Shane Conlon, the inside linebacker, one of the top inside backers in the league, gets the tackle for the Bills. See the other scores on our 10-minute ticker.
Boy, the Rams are doing a number on the Falcons.
And here at Rich Stadium with 4:17 left in the first half, it's 17-0 Colts. Ball just short of the 5-yard line, 2nd and 8. Hogaboom will pass from the end zone. Dickerson makes a one-handed catch and takes it to the 9-yard line. Shane Conlon chases him down. Nice catch by Dickerson, a one-handed grab.
Excellent catch by Dickerson. That ball seemed to hang in the air forever. He put a lot of air under that football, and Dickerson made a nice one-handed grab. Shane Conlon made a nice adjustment. Look, he's on the blitz, reads the screen, says, uh-oh, Dickerson's the man, one-handed catch, catches it from behind. That's a heads-up move by Shane Conlon to adjust his blitz.
It'll be 3rd down and 5 yards for the Colts, who don't want to have to punt from their own end zone. This is a crucial 3rd down play. Hogaboom, perhaps an audible. Dickerson hit, keeps his balance, and takes it to the 15 for a Colt first down. Shane Conlon tripped him up and then pinned him, but a great run by Dickerson, who was hit, but then managed to pick up first down yardage.
No question about it. That is vintage Eric Dickerson. Not great blocking at the point of attack. It's just a little delay draw. Dickerson makes the read. Look at that. He breaks the tackle right there. Look at the balance. One hand, rights himself, gains an extra 6 yards by sticking that right hand on the ground and righting his balance.
Dickerson held to the lowest of his career, 19 yards rushing in the 87 season against Buffalo. Has already exceeded that today, though he's been primarily a decoy. Hogaboom's pass. Brooks makes a great catch at about the 45 or 35-yard line it is. The 35. Brooks keeping his feet in bounds. Makes a 20-yard grab.
Nice tightrope on the sideline. Look at Brooks' concentration. Left foot down, tap with the right foot, and he had control. That's a completion. He's caught a pass in all 34 NFL games that he has played in.
Brooks, one of the finest young receivers in the NFL. He had 51 receptions in 87, 65 and 1,100 yards as a rookie. One of 9 rookies in the history of the NFL with 1,000 yards receiving. Hogaboom trying to be heard over the crowd noise on a first down play. Bumping and interference again on Brooks as he made the cut. Odom's bumped him. And that'll be another pass interference against the Buffalo Bills, who continue to be plagued by penalties.
And once again, Odom's mistake is he did not turn his head for the football. Brooks gets a release. Odom's just concentrating on the receiver, never turns. Yes, he did. I take that back. He did turn to make a play on the football, but early contact, that's a questionable call because they have really liberalized the interpretation of pass interference downfield.
Number 37 defense, first down.
Odoms is whistled for the pass interference, giving the Colts a first down in Buffalo territory.
My initial reaction when I looked at Odoms was that he never turned for the football. But if you turn for the football and trying to make a legitimate play on it, that should not be pass interference. That's really an iffy call right there.
Hogaboom hit as he releases the ball for the end zone. Verdin, incomplete. Derek Burrows was covering Verdin, who has a touchdown grab, but dropped a similar one down the right sideline earlier in this quarter.
Hogaboom threw that football over 50 yards in the air and very catchable. Boy, that should be touchdown city for Clarence Verdin. Hogaboom is going to be very upset by the fact that wasn't caught. Watch the hit that he takes, Hogaboom, from Darryl Talley just as he released that football. A big-time hit, but boy, he threw that football 55 yards in the air.
Mark Bellini has replaced Clarence Verdin, and Wayne Davis in for Derek Burrows on the Buffalo secondary. Second and 10. Hogaboom slipped and got up and fired it incomplete. Bentley had a chance at the football that was intended for Dickerson. And Hogaboom lost his footing and then threw it probably ill-advisedly as he was off balance.
Exactly. In the decal in the middle of the field, the Buffalo Bill helmet, he gets his feet tangled up in there. It's a little slick with the moisture on the ground. And he loses his plant foot. Does a nice job of keeping his balance, but as you mentioned, Tom, dangerous to put that football up when you have no strength on the pass.
A reminder to our viewers, we will be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the contest. 3rd and 10 for Indianapolis. 2:23 left in the first half. Indianapolis leading 17-0. Ball's at the 43 of Buffalo. Hogaboom has a man, Bentley, but he overshot him. Wayne Davis was covering Albert Bentley, but the pass too long. It'll bring up 4th down for Indianapolis.
You know, the Bills have really struggled in the second quarter all season long. They've only given up 7 points this afternoon, but coming into today, they'd given up 48 of the 82 points they had allowed on the season. That's over 58% of the points have been scored against them in the second quarter.
Ron Stark's first punt only covered 38 yards. Errol Tucker is deep for the Bills. Tucker standing on the 10-yard line. 2:19 on the clock, first half. 17-0 Indianapolis. Low snap. Stark gets it away. Try to kill it inside the 20. There's a flag on the play. And the ball kept alive by the Colts. They down it at the 2-yard line. Wayne Davis, number 21, perhaps guilty of the infraction as Tom Dooley will try to sort it out. Let's watch the replay.
Davis does just touch the left toe of Ron Stark. That's an Oscar award right there by Ron Stark. He wins the big Academy Award. And this will be called running into the kicker, not roughing the kicker, which is a 5-yard penalty and not an automatic first down. He just barely, if there was one less coating of shoe polish on that shoe, I don't think he would have touched it.
Yeah, but his foot came down sort of on the shoulder of Davis. And he did run by him while his leg was airborne, which can be pretty dangerous.
But they will call running into the kicker, which is a 5-yard penalty, not an automatic first down.
That's what Ron Meyer is saying. He's going to say, let's keep the ball down there at the 2-yard line.
Right. Can't get better field position than that.
We're running into the kicker. On the receiving team, penalty is declined. First down.
So a moment ago, the Bills backed the Colts up to about their 2 or 3 yard line, and the Colts return the favor with 2:08 on the clock. Buffalo will start with a first down at its own 2-yard line.
This is tough on the offensive line right here, Tom. It really narrows your game plan down. Your game plan is sliced in half at least. And it really makes things tough.
You see the clock as Jim Kelly under center hands it to Mueller. Mueller pounds ahead to about the 7-yard line. About a 5-yard gain before Byron Darby hauls him down. We've come to the 2-minute warning at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, where the Colts lead the Bills 17-0. Tom Hammond and Dave Lapham at Rich Stadium, where the Buffalo Bills with a 4-1 record. And they've only won those 4 games by a total of 16 points. You just need enough.
That's right. You don't need a lot, just enough. And it's sunny here in Buffalo with that 4-1 record.
However, they trail 17-0 with 2 minutes left in the first half and are backed up with a 2nd and 4 from their own 8-yard line. Kelly. Pass to Burkett, complete for the first down. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 18-yard line, and the clock shows 1:57. Willie Tullis pushed him out of bounds, but Burkett picked up 10.
Well, this Bills offense is really struggling, Tom. Only scored 3 points last weekend, have been shut out so far in the first half today. Coming into the game, the offense had only scored 4 of their 5 touchdowns. The 5th one was on a blocked punt. That's the lowest, 28th in the league, 4 offensive touchdowns.
First down pass from Kelly. Too far for Burkett as it goes incomplete. The Colts had their nickel defense on the field as they're expecting the pass from Kelly, trying to get some points on the board here in the closing stages of the first half. But still with a long way to go, they'll have 2nd and 10 from their own 18.
And once again, the Bills' offensive line, they find themselves in a must-pass block mode every play. When you're down 17 points, no question what you have to do.
They've got 7 defensive backs on the field now to the Colts. And somehow, Rob Riddick goes up in traffic to make the reception, and then he's jumped on by a lot of white jerseys that push him back, and the crowd thought that should have been a roughness penalty. It'll be 16 yards. Great catch by Riddick.
A lot of people around that football with white jerseys on. They're making them pay for every yard generated in this drive.
Clock continues to roll, coming down to the 1:30 mark. Kelly's pass on the sideline, taken by Harmon, who's nudged. No, they say not out of bounds. Keep the clock rolling. The fans don't like that either. Terry Wright will get credit for the stop, but the Bills thought they were out of bounds. 2nd and 4. Kelly's pass across the middle, complete. Burkett trying to get a block. He's at the 30. Down to the 26-yard line of Indianapolis. Eugene Daniel finally chased him down. Great catch by Chris Burkett.
Great catch in a crowd. Found a little seam, settled in the seam of his own. Made a great play, number 85, Chris Burkett.
And the Bills stop the clock with 57 ticks remaining.
That's right, he settles right in the seam of his own. Look at that, 3 white jerseys, but Kelly finds him right in the seam, and then he gains nice positive yardage after the catch, picking up some blockers.
Went for 35 yards, and the Bills have a first down at the 26 of the Indianapolis Colts. 57 seconds remaining. Bills have 1 timeout left. They trail 17-0. Kelly for the end zone. Harmon, touchdown.
Again, drops back in the pocket. This is a matchup you like. Harmon turned around a defensive back, Terry Wright. Boy, just put a great move on him, and Terry Wright did a 360. Usually, a running back cannot beat a defensive back like that. A linebacker, yes. Defensive back, no. Great execution by Harmon. Poor execution by Terry Wright.
26 yards for the touchdown. Scott Norwood off the hold from Kidd for the extra point. And it's good. So the Buffalo Bills finally get their offense going on a masterful drive by Jim Kelly that covered 98 yards in the closing minutes of the first half.
26-yard catch for Harmon. Jim Kelly, that's only his 3rd touchdown pass in the season. Of course, the Bills with 2 touchdown passes were tied for last in the league. Jim Kelly has had 3 touchdown passes called back, either by penalty or instant replay review, whatever the case might be, but now he's finally got his 3rd on the board.
Hope you'll stay with us at halftime of this game. We'll be going back to NFL Live, where Lynn Berman is holding forth. And he'll bring you up to date on all the scores around the NFL. He'll be joined by Frank DeFord, Paul McGuire, and Gail Gardner. Let's take one more look at the touchdown pass to Harmon.
Boy, look at the separation Harmon already has from Terry Wright, number 27 in the white. Just a great pattern run, and it was in a dime defense. Terry Wright, a defensive back, matched up on a running back. That's a matchup the defense usually likes, but the offense toasted it on that matchup.
Bentley will receive the kick from Norwood. That scoring drive, 7 plays covered 98 yards in a minute 17 as the Bills get on the board, and that was a clutch drive engineered by Jim Kelly, and perhaps can get the Bills back in this one. They trail 17-7. Will they try an onside kick here?
I really don't think so. I think that they've generated some momentum by scoring, and if the Colts recover here, they're in great field position to take away and nullify some of that momentum. I think the Bills will just kick it deep and end the half.
51 seconds left in the half. 17-7 Indianapolis. Norwood kicks it deep. Bentley, well, he almost collided with Banks, and Banks that takes it, and Banks is swarmed on by blue jerseys at about the 28-yard line. And some rough stuff in the middle of that pile.
Tempers flare. These are rivals in that AFC East. And, of course, it's first place against last place. Last place trying to close some ground here against the first place Bills.
Well, that 98-yard drive got the crowd of 80,000 juiced up. And with 42 seconds left, will the Colts play it safe here?
I think they will. I don't think they want to do anything to put gasoline on the fire that has been ignited by the Buffalo Bills. I think they'll just go back and collect their thoughts at halftime. The Bills definitely have generated some momentum here.
Hogaboom hands it off. Dickerson to the 30-yard line where Darryl Talley tackles it. Here are the standings in the AFC East coming into today's game as the clock ticks away down toward 25 seconds. And the Colts go without a huddle. Bentley makes the catch at the 35-yard line, short of the first down. Dwight Drain throws him back. And at 14, the clock is stopped by an Indianapolis timeout.
And
here are those standings.
Right, 16 points have led to 4 wins for the Buffalo Bills. 17 points have led to 4 defeats for the Indianapolis Colts. That's how tight this AFC East division really is. It's a delicate balance in the National Football League, and your season really falls in how those tight games go in that left-hand win column or that right-hand loss column.
And the Colts in a must-win situation. Ron Meyer had an interesting thought yesterday. He said if we can jump on Buffalo early, we might be able to turn this crowd. But that 98-yard drive has gotten the crowd back on the side of the Bills. There you see that just a couple of points either way could flip-flop those records.
Most definitely. It's winning and losing is a habit. And you start losing the close games, it becomes habit forming. You win the close games, it becomes habit forming in that positive vein. You know, it's like you play to win rather than playing not to lose, and there's a big psychological difference there.
And the Indianapolis franchise has been in turmoil lately. Hogaboom not happy because he was replaced by Chandler. Ron Salt dealt to the Philadelphia Eagles after holding out for a long time, and Odom not pleased with being replaced by Young. Dickerson carries for a first down across the 40-yard line of Indianapolis.
He made a great slide into second base on that play. He saw that there's no more yardage to gain. Why take the big hit? He slid on his back. He looked like Pete Rose going into second base.
No, Pete Rose goes in head first.
That's good point. Good point.
Hogaboom back to talk to Meyer again. Let's check out the sliding form of Gary Hogaboom, who is back at quarterback after Chandler was injured.
Durability is a lot of times because of intelligence. And look at this. He knows that he can't get any more yardage, avoids a big hit, and that's why Eric Dickerson is never injured, really. I mean, he plays in 98.9% of the games that he was eligible to play in his career. Very rarely out of there because of injury, because he runs smart as well as with talent.
One timeout left for each team. The Colts with the ball. A first down at their own 42. Just 8 seconds left. Is it time for the Hail Mary pass yet?
Yes, I think right now the Colts can open it up a little bit and burn a timeout. They're going to have to, it can't be anything too deep. They have to leave a little bit of time on the clock to line up for that field goal.
Hogaboom airs it out. It's complete.
There it is.
2 seconds left. Can they stop the clock? No. Booza made the catch. Odoms took him down. And let's see if they're going to say the half expired.
I think penalty.
Their third timeout.
Yes, they did.
Put 2 seconds on the clock.
Tom Dooley says put 2 seconds on the clock. They did get the timeout called, and Dean Biasucci will have a chance to kick a field goal.
Gary Hogeboom, being the intelligent veteran quarterback that he is, told Tom Dooley before the play, look, I'm going to come right to you as soon as I throw the football and call timeout, as soon as the ball is completed. As soon as Hogeboom released the football, and he went right to Tom Dooley. As soon as he saw completion, signaled timeout, and the clock stopped right at that point. He was right next to him, right in his face.
Number 3 is Ron Stark, the holder. Number 4, Dean Biasucci, the kicker. Biasucci has kicked 23 straight inside the 45-yard line. This one will be 42 yards. No, it'll be longer than that. It's going to be about 49 yards, 50 yards probably by the time they set it down. So a 50-yard attempt by Dean Biasucci. His earlier field goal was from 31. Here's the kick. No good. Biasucci with a try, 2 seconds left, misses it from long range. And an injured player, Joel Patton of the Colts, as Ron Meyer leaves the field. Patton is still down. Now being helped to his feet. There's Patton, number 65, limping off the field at halftime. So a wild and woolly first half. The Colts with a diversified attack, breaking on top 17-0. But the Bills with a 98-yard drive to pull within 7, 17-7 at intermission. Attack directed first by Chris Chandler and then by Gary Hogeboom, going on top 17-0. But the Bills coming back with Jim Kelly directing a 98-yard drive to get on the board, and it's 17-7 at halftime. NFL Live halftime activities continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Halftime continues. We are joined, as always, by Frank DeFord. And both Frank and I just coming back from Korea. The Olympics, of course, a tremendous emotional spectacle. And you come back and you take a look at the NFL and feel maybe a little bit of that emotion is gone these days.
No, these are hard times for pro football, Gail. You see, we all root for our favorite team to win. But let's face it, what makes it being a fan even more fun is cheering against some team you hate. And in this regard, the NFL had it made for years because there wasn't a personality type, there wasn't a human being in all the world who didn't despise either the Raiders or the Cowboys, one or the other. The Raiders were the rogues who threw spitballs in class and wouldn't eat their vegetables. The Cowboys were the little darlings who cleaned their plates and picked up their rooms. You naturally cheer for your home team, but which team you hated, either the Cowboys or the Raiders, depended on who you were and what you stood for. That was much deeper, much more revealing about what sort of a person you were. The Cowboys appealed to the super organized, the reliable, the organization men, Tex Schramm and Tom Landry and Gil Brandt and his trusty computer. The Cowboys wore neatsy little silver stars and were led by Roger Staubach, a God-fearing military man. No other team in the world, and certainly not the Raiders, could have invented the cheerleaders. Only the Dallas Cowboys could have made raw sex sweet. Meanwhile, the Raiders took in outcasts and scoundrels. Al Davis, the ultimate loner. Us against them, the Raiders dressed like pirates and were led by Ken Stabler, a raucous reprobate, left-handed, and the Snake. But above all, the Raiders and Cowboys both always won. That was crucial for us. You can't work up any hate for bums. Who cares about the Falcons or Buccaneers? You might as well root against the homeless. But now, sadly, the Cowboys and Raiders are stiffs. They're both coming off losing seasons, and they're losing again in '88. God help us, this is a threat to our national psyche, our emotional well-being. So in this election year, let us all come together and cheer for the Cowboys and Raiders. Pray that once again they can be winners, so that then each of us can be healthy Americans once more. Pick the Raiders or the Cowboys and cheer against them.
I have to tell you that if you had asked me the question, which two teams did you personally root against through most of your life, I would have said the Cowboys and the Raiders, absolutely. especially in the late 70s when the Cowboys were goody two-shoes, as you said, and the Raiders, the Jack Tatum, Darryl Stingley incident always symbolized for me the Oakland Raiders of that time, unfortunately so. But I have a feeling, Frank, that the ability to dislike, to be motivated by hatred in some way, is not there in a lot of our sports these days.
I think that villains have disappeared altogether. I think we even saw it in the Olympics. People didn't get worked up against the Russians nearly as much as they used to. You don't see it in baseball so much anymore. People hate George Steinbrenner, but I don't think the antagonism against the Yankees is there the way that it used to be. And I see you in that nice green outfit, and it reminds me of the Boston Celtics. And people used to hate the Boston Celtics when Red Auerbach had the big cigar. But, I mean, who could hate people like Casey Jones? It's not true anymore.
Why do you think that's changed?
Oh, I think as a general rule, television has smoothed things out, and perhaps the whole society has gone that way. I don't think we have as many heroes as we used to. Remember, Jack Nicklaus was a villain once upon a time when he came in against Palmer, and not so much anymore. Jim McMahon might try to be a villain, but he comes off more as just a rascal. I guess our emotions are just not as strong as they used to be.
I guess not. But here's to perhaps some future villains. At any rate, Frank, thank you so much, and NFL coverage continues.
Welcome back to New York. It's been a crazy first half thus far. We have five now, not four, five more quarterback injuries around the National Football League. We're only at halftime of game number 1 today. The big news in baseball, National League President Bart Giamatti has suspended Dodger pitcher Jay Howell for 3 days. Not games, days. Tommy Lasorda right now doing a rain dance because if I guess the games are rained out, Howell could play, but 3 days, weather forecasts are good. He would be eligible to pitch in Game 7 if there is a Game 7. This because, as you know, of the Pine Tar incident yesterday at Shea. Now, all the scores and highlights. Some of you watching the wild game in Cincinnati where the Bengals are leading the Jets 19-12. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Cincinnati. They still lead. Sam Weiss had plenty to pace about. And that strange play in the first quarter, in effect, Boomer Esiason tripped over offensive lineman Anthony Munoz. It wasn't a Jets tackle. 2 points on the safety. The Jets then went up after a recovered fumble 9-0, but then Esiason went to work. Here he goes, 61 yards to Eddie Brown. Bobby Humphrey just chases him. Bengals coming back. It was 9-6. They missed a couple of extra points. They had a field goal blocked, a replay controversy right after a replay called back on the touchdown that was reversed. Then he completed another one to Eddie Brown. So 15 touchdown passes now for Boomer Esiason, and they're doing well coming back from adversity.
Adversity does not shake a good football team, and Boomer knows that all he has to do is stay into that pocket and throw. And the most important thing about it, the defense of Cincinnati. This year, they bend a lot, but they don't break.
All right, well, the quarterbacks are doing the breaking right now because Seattle, they're now in the third quarter. Seahawks leading Cleveland 13-7. Anybody want to play quarterback for the Browns? They're now down to their 4th string. They started with Kozar, then they went on to Danielson, then Pagel. You'll see how he was hurt, and now it's down to a 4th. Don Strock on the blocked field goal of Matt Barr. It was Jeff Bryan who blocked it for Seattle. Paul Moyer scooped it up. Look who makes the tackle. Number 10, the quarterback, Pagel, on the play, injures his shoulder. He was number 5 to go down today. Pagel is now out, and it's Don Strock, and anybody is the backup right now. Now, in other games, Chris Chandler of Indianapolis, he's out, the quarterback. Bruce Sternum, Hogaboom has replaced him there. Indianapolis leading Buffalo 17-7, second quarter. As Chandler paces the sidelines, that happened in the second quarter. His replacement, Hogaboom, did take over, so the Colts in good shape there. Clarence Verdin gathered it in, 39 yards. Indianapolis took the 17-0 lead. It's now 17-7. Kansas City and Houston, Cody Carlson, fractured right thumb. That's the quarterback for Houston. Brent Peace is in. A running back, Alan Pinkett, is the backup. Hasn't played quarterback since high school. 6-0 Kansas City at halftime in that one. Green Bay leading New England 17-3. Doug Flutie not doing the magic. Has 2 interceptions, but he does have 2 tackles. And remember last week, Flutie with the naked bootleg against the Colts? Well, Don Mikowski, Green Bay quarterback, says, hey, I can do that. There he goes. Touchdown for Green Bay. And the Packers finally looking for a win for Lindy Infante. They're 0-5. Perhaps they'll get off track and get a win today. 17-3. That's at halftime. Chicago and Detroit. Both quarterbacks, McMahon and Long, knocked out here with knee injuries. McMahon also suffered a concussion. Chicago beating up on Detroit 17-0 at halftime in that one. The Rams over Atlanta. Nobody's going to go to football games at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. It's now 27-0 at halftime. And how easy is it to rush against the Falcons defense? Well, in the first quarter alone, Greg Bell of the Rams rushed for 110 yards. That was in the first quarter. 27-0, all Rams trying to bounce back. Atlanta would go 1-5. The Rams would be 5-1. Washington at Dallas. Washington a fairly easy time against the Cowboys. Mark Rippon a couple of touchdown passes for the Skins. 28-10 Washington over Dallas at halftime. And Tampa Bay, third quarter, some are surprised here. They lead in Minnesota. That score is 10-7. So that's the story at halftime. We hope they can get some quarterbacks back to health. Paul McGuire with Len Berman. We'll have more for you later on. We'll be back.
Halftime at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Tom Hammond and Dave Lapham, where the Indianapolis Colts lead the Buffalo Bills 17-7. And Dave, a surprising first half. Right off the bat, it was a surprise because the Indianapolis Colts did not hand the ball to Eric Dickerson as they had through the first 5 games of the season. They went to the air with Chris Chandler, the rookie, at the controls at that time.
And he did a tremendous job. He incorporated a lot of people, a lot of support for Eric Dickerson. Albert Bentley got involved in the offense very early, went to his wide receivers. Bill Brooks made a couple of big catches. I think it was a good scheme by Ron Meyer and loosened the defense up a little bit. Eric Dickerson started to get involved in the football game, running the football as well as catching it. So they really jumped off to a very, very positive start in this football game.
Chandler, of course, was later injured, suffered a bruised sternum, and replaced by Gary Hogaboom. But Hogaboom right on target, especially with a long touchdown pass to Clarence Verdin.
Clarence Verdin has turned into the big play person for the Indianapolis Colts. And really, Gary Hogaboom could have had at least one more touchdown pass. Clarence Verdin, with all the positives that he had in the first half, had a couple of major drops.
Do you think the momentum shifted, though, after Indianapolis had gone up 17-0, and they had the Bills backed up to their own 2-yard line, but then Kelly came out firing and got the Bills on the board just before halftime? Did that sort of turn the thing around for Buffalo?
I think it did. I think that's the most positive thing that could have happened for Buffalo. When you go on a 98-yard drive, you're doing a lot of things very well. I think one of the big things is the offensive line really operated well for Jim Kelly. He was never really hit in that series. He was hit a couple of times in the first half. Of course, the defensive ends closed in on him and sandwiched him on one particular play, but the offensive line in that 2-minute drive did just an exemplary job of protecting the quarterback.
Kelly had not been sharp in his passing early in the game, but in that last drive was on target and did throw a pass to Harmon, 26 yards for the Bills' only touchdown of the game. Looking ahead to the second half, what do you expect to see? As far as these two teams continue to go back and forth, do you think the Colts will still be diversified, and will the Bills be able to adjust after expecting to have to stop Dickerson?
I think the Bills will make an adjustment defensively, and really I think that the one thing you mentioned about that touchdown pass or touchdown drive at the end of the first half, the Bills can now stay with their game plan. They don't really have to adjust that game plan. There's a hit that Chandler took from Cornelius Bennett, and another hit that he took from Cornelius Bennett. Well, the quarterbacks did get hit. The Indianapolis Colts got hit with regularity by that Buffalo Bill defense.
And, of course, Chandler eventually had to leave the game, and the diagnosis of bruised sternum. Here he scrambles and goes down, and it would be Gary Hogaboom that would come on to replace him. Kelly also took a shot in the first half. In fact, the Bills had to call a timeout to clear his head. And Kelly, though, did come back on. He's a tough customer.
He is. You know, the standing joke going around the Buffalo area is that Jim Kelly had as many tackles as he had touchdown passes coming into this afternoon's football game. That was 2 each.
Let's take a look at the stats for the first half. The Colts had the edge in first downs and in yards rushing barely. The yards passing sort of evened up after that 98-yard drive by the Bills, and the total yardage pretty close. The time of possession was way in favor of the Colts after the first quarter, but it too evened up somewhat in the second quarter. And the passing stats, the Colts, Chandler and Hogaboom, 14 of 24. Jim Kelly all the way 13 of 23 in the first half. And the one turnover was an interception by Barry Krause of the Colts, who turned it. The Colts later turned it into a touchdown. Kickoff sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Tucker deep for the Bills as Biasucci will kick it off for the Colts. Tucker takes it at the 6. Across the 20, he's got some room. Out of of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Biasucci, the kicker, was finally able to get Tucker out of bounds, and the Bills have gotten good returns on the kickoffs all afternoon long.
Marv Levy is very, very high on Earl Tucker as a kickoff return man. He said he makes great decisions. The only problem is he had not received sufficient blocking on a lot of occasions. That time he did, and he turned it into a nice kickoff return.
Spot the ball at the 36-yard line for the first offensive play of the second half. Kelly will put it up. Burkett can't hold it. O'Brien Alston was covering Burkett. Alston, the rookie, number 97, getting his first NFL start today. He's 6'6", 246 pounds, out of the University of Maryland.
He is one specimen, and in fact, all those Colts are big people. But watch Chris Burkett. Breaks free from the line of scrimmage, picked up by Alston. That's dangerous. Grabbed him after that 5-yard area, but Jim Kelly threw the ball behind Chris Burkett, but Alston has to watch out, not grab him after that 5-yard period.
Reed in motion as Kelly hands it off. Mueller on second down scrambles across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Got 3 or 4 yards when it didn't look like he was going to be able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Craig Swope, credit for the tackle for the Indianapolis Colts. Harmon and Riddick on the field now for the Bills as Mueller goes off on a passing